South African Weather Services has issued a level 9 orange warning for Gauteng and 3 other provinces due to expected heavy rain. Now, the warning is in Gauteng, eastern northwest, southwestern Limpopo, as well as the Highveld in Mpumalanga. A forecaster, Edward Engelbrecht, says rain could lead to localized flooding in several areas. Let's get a clear picture from the South African Weather Services forecaster, Lehlohonolo Thobela. Lehlohonolo, good morning. Could you just explain to us what a level 9 orange warning means exactly?
Good morning, Nombu, and thanks for the invitation. What it means is that we're expecting a medium likelihood of severe impacts of disruptive rain due to heavy downpours. And that exactly happened. In fact, from early morning today in the eastern parts of Gauteng, we've already seen some observations of flooded areas, especially around Boksburg, and people are struggling to travel. So, yes, it was an orange level 9 of disruptive rain due to heavy downpours. And that means that the more of the areas that are around Gauteng into the southwestern parts of Mpumalanga, as well as the extreme eastern parts of the northwest, expecting some severe conditions of impact, resulting into some disruptive rain that results in localized flooding, especially over those areas as mentioned.
I mean, the impact that you talk about, what are we talking outside of localized flooding?
Yeah, I mean, we thought moving to disruptions of areas, local parts of the informal settlements, which may also be flooded. But sometimes with some storms in the area in the vicinity of the where you have heavy rains, you can have damaging winds that result in some informal structures also impacted in terms of it being uprooted. We're speaking about communities being resulting in an area being removed from an area that may be in around the low-lying areas that may lead to flooding. So it's a different number of impacts which may also result in some visibility being reduced on the roads, as well as people struggling to drive on roads as the roads are wet currently.
From your observations thus far, are you seeing any specific municipalities or areas that have been heavily impacted?
Yeah, currently speaking, in the Ekurhuleni region, in the Boksburg regions, we've seen some floods, and cars are actually struggling to travel over those areas which are low-lying. And what we're noticing is that a lot of people are not heeding the warning of not driving into overflowing streams, because it may also be a danger to life, especially in areas where you have overflowing streams and you have water that is above your ankles. Don't try to be a hero and move into areas where it's flooded. But we're seeing more of that in the eastern parts, but we're expecting more rain into the afternoon, but mainly over the northern parts of Gauteng. So this would cover around Bronkhorstspruit into the northern parts of Pretoria and covering parts of Pretoria into the late evening, stretching to the southwestern parts of Limpopo, just south of Bela into the areas around Thabazimbi. We're still expecting more rain into the evening. The warning is still in effect for today into the evening, but for tomorrow, a 60% chance of showers and thunder showers will stretch into the eastern parts. Yes, we're still expecting a 60% chance of showers, but the warning is mainly for today. That is the orange level 9 warning.
Lehlohonolo, is this normal weather for this time of the year?
It's definitely normal, but it came earlier than what we'd expect in terms of what really results in the weather. We're getting tropical moisture from the northern parts of the country, which would be further north of northwest into Botswana. We have a surface system there that is resulting in much more of convergence as it has a high pressure region in the eastern parts. But fairly in the same region, we still expect much more of that, especially in the transition times of spring into summer. Yes, the rains may have been early in terms of where we expecting summer, but it is actually quite normal for us to have such systems bringing much more of the rain. Sometimes we'd have it late in summer, but it's quite normal, and it's also what was expected due to us having a seasonal forecast already suggesting that we're expecting a weak La Nina season. And if you have been in the eastern parts of the country, you would attest to saying that yes, we've been having some gloomy weather, cloudy conditions, a drop in temperatures in the afternoon, and more of the rain in the eastern regions of the country.
Yeah, I mean, you speak of more rain anticipated, particularly in Gauteng. Let's talk about then the communication between yourselves and disaster management. How important is this intercommunication, particularly for the safety of South Africans?
Yeah, it's important to note that disaster is not only for South African Weather Service or only disaster management, but everyone as a whole is, for as long as you're in the regions that are prone to disaster, you need to also take action. But yes, we do have a relationship with disaster management, and we do have meetings now and again about planning and how to actually prepare for the above normal rains that are expected in the eastern parts. We also have more of the communication parts in GCIS and people who keep on having the impact of having these conversations so that we're better prepared, because it's really, really important that we're proactive rather than being reactive in terms of how we act into disasters, especially disasters like rain, as well as severe thunderstorms, and more of what may result in more severe weather impacts in the eastern part. So the relationship is quite strong, and we do have more of outreach programs. So we also teach about these levels and how to read weather warnings. And this is in conjunction with the disaster management, all the way from provincial to disaster. And in us issuing an orange level 9, there were consultations between disaster management and the South African Weather Service. So we really have a good relationship. That's why we try to push the message all the time.
When will we see the weather subsiding, this extreme rainy condition?
In terms of severe weather warnings, tomorrow it stretches to the northeastern parts of of Limpopo rather. That's where we're still expecting some disruptive rain with widespread chance of rain and showers. But from Tuesday, you can start seeing temperature starting to improve. But on Monday, we're not expecting much more of the warning to still be in effect, especially over Gauteng, Mpumalanga, as well as the northwest into Limpopo. But much more of the northeastern parts of Limpopo are yet to still experience more rain. But from Tuesday, we should start seeing an improvement until Thursday to Friday, where we can expect some storms mainly over the escarpments of Mpumalanga to the western parts of KwaZulu-Natal. But from Tuesday, you can start seeing an improvement of the weather.
South African weather forecaster